Today we're unboxing the Ichiban Kuji Prize B King and the Ichiban Kuji Prize A Zoro. First we're going to start off with King, so we can see it's got some pictures of him here on the box. And I did a poll to decide which figures to open next, and these two won by a large margin, so that's why these are getting unboxed first. Next I'll be unboxing the Grand Line Series King. Now let's get King out of the box. And as far as I know, this Ichiban Kuji set only released in Japan. Sometimes they will release them overseas under the name Ichibansho, and those will be the same exact figures. The only difference is that it doesn't have the Prize A, Prize B on the box. They'll be in different boxes. So yeah, this set has not had an Ichibansho release as far as I know. And here we've got his second wing. We'll be taking a closer look at that in a bit. And then last piece to come out is the stand. Yeah, that just slipped right out of my hand. So it goes in just like this, just stick in that big square, and now it's time to put on King's wings. He's got two slits right here for them to go into. You can see it says R right there on the wing. And yeah, I think the wing looks pretty good. The feathers are kind of rounded, you know, how they should be. Looks pretty good. Now let's get them on. So yeah, this wing has an R on it and the other one has an L. So you know this goes on the right side, the other one goes on the left side. But it would be pretty hard to mess it up, you know. It would be obvious. And here he is now. Look how much wider he got with his wings on. Then here he's got this hole in his leg for the stand to go on. So let's get that in there, and now he's ready for the sword to go in. So yeah, this actually went in easier than I thought. Sometimes the hands are like so tight, but this one just went in pretty perfectly. Now he's complete, and let's see how tall he is. The tallest point of him is the right wing. That's about 9.5 inches tall. And let's see the width now. This is always pretty tricky to measure. This looks to be about 13.5 inches wide. I'd say maybe 14 to be safe if you're like planning a spot for him. And that's with the sword all the way in. And as for the depth, that's about 7.5 inches or 8 to be safe. So yeah, those are his measurements. And now let's see how much he weighs. So he weighs a bit over 11 ounces. And now let's go over all the details. So look at these flames. I was actually kind of surprised by these. I thought they would just be a flat orange color, but they actually have a few shades of orange in them. Some brighter orange or some kind of darker also. And it's the same thing on the sword where he's got the flames kind of wrapped around it. So I'm really glad they didn't just do plain orange for this. Then here's his shoulder pad, which is black. You can see his coat isn't quite black. It's like kind of a bluish color. And what I do really like about it is these little lines they put throughout it. Makes it kind of look leathery, just looks really nice. I like that. Then all the gold buttons on it. And then here we can see some metal bands around his leg. Then the coat kind of flowing with the movement, looks really good. See that flame again. Let's take another look at the wings. Yeah, I think the wings look great. They're just a plain black color because, you know, they're just black wings, but they've got all that detailing in them, really making them look like feathers. Think it looks great. Then here's his other arm. We can see that his glove is black just like the shoulder pad. And now the front view here, we can see his belt. And I think the shirt looks great. I love how it has those like wrinkles in it, you know, from him stretching back. I think it really helps to show the movement. Just looks really good. Now onto the face, and I think it looks great. It looks just like King to me. And then we can see his tattoo really good from this angle. Looks perfect, but he does have a seam in the middle of his head. Not too noticeable though. Now moving on to the hair, we can see it's got some purple in it too, mixed with that white. I thought his hair was just going to be plain white until I opened this, and I actually like the purple in this case. Sometimes I don't like when they add too many colors, but yeah, I like it here. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this one. As of right now, it's my favorite King figure. But we'll see if that changes once I open the Grand Line Men King in a few days. And now it's time to get Zoro opened. So here he is, the Prize A Ichiban Kuji Zoro. And I will be getting the others from this set, the Sanji and the Queen, probably early next month. So I'll have a video on those eventually. But yeah, let's get Zoro out of the box now. We can see he's got a lot of that blue tape. I'm not sure exactly what type of tape that is because it's like, it's sticky enough to hold the stuff on, but you can like take it off and put it back on without it like getting too sticky. So yeah, this box has an extra layer in the back for his swords and the pieces of his stand, or one piece of his stand. And look at that, another piece fell. And let's take a look at Zoro before we put him on. We can see his sash is kind of torn up, then the bottom of his coat too, I guess because all the fights that he was in Wano. He's fighting Kaido, got beat there, got wrapped up, came back and fought King. So yeah, he's really messed up. Now let's get the stand in, and this one's got 2 little pegs, and then Zoro has a hole in his back under the sleeves of his coat where you stick this in. And next we'll get Enma into his hand. So King's sword was really easy to get in, but this one's a really tight fit. You gotta push pretty hard to get this in. Just keep pushing, and it'll kind of just slide in there like that. Now for the other one, this one went in a little bit easier. But yep, now we've got them both in, and now time to put the one into his mouth. And the little peg that goes into his mouth is shaped a specific way, you know, so it can only go in one side. And look at that, there's the sexy beast now fully put together. Now it's time for his measurements. He's about 9 inches tall and about 5.5 inches deep. I know it looks like 5, but when I look at it with my eyes, it looks closer to 5.5. And now for the width, that's about 6.5 inches wide from his sword to the red sash down there. Now it's time to weigh him, and let's see. So he weighs about 7 ounces, just a little bit over 7 ounces. And his body has kind of this reddish hue to it, which I think is a little weird. Then we can see his swords here got that kind of green aura wrapped around it, and then on the other sword some more of it. It kind of reminds me of when Brook lets his soul out, you know. And then we've got his scabbards here, which look fine. They look alright, you know, pretty standard for a prize trigger. Nothing wrong with them, nothing out of the ordinary. And here he is with this other Ichiban Kuji Zoro that I have, and this newer Ichiban Kuji one is just a little bit bigger overall. You can see he's just, the head's bigger, everything's just a little bit bigger. You can also see what I mean about that red hue. This new one's a little bit redder, the other one's more of a regular skin tone, but also the new one does not have those ugly seams on the arms. You can see this older one has some really bad seams on it, and this one doesn't have any, at least not on the arms. And here's a look at them now with the Portrait of Pirates Maximum Zoro. My amount of Wano Zoros just keeps adding up. And here he is with King now. I think this is how I'll have them displayed. I like the view of Zoro from the back here, then the front of King. But yeah, the issue with these is the size. Like, Zoro almost looks like a giant compared to King. Like, he's just so big, you know? And it's not like they couldn't make King bigger. They could either make Zoro a lot smaller or King bigger. Like, look at this Ichiban Kuji Ors. He's huge. They could have done it with King. They just chose not to, I guess. But yeah, Zoro's head is actually bigger than King's on these figures. But you know, it's not the end of the world. Just something they could have done better. And now let's take a look at some size comparisons. So I don't even know where I'm going to put these two. Like, I keep getting so many Wano figures, you know, just keep adding up and adding up because it's such a huge arc. Figures have been coming out for years now for it. And yeah, I'm getting too many of them. So we'll see. We'll see what I end up doing.